Hello everyone, welcome to Screen Scream. I'm Viola. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about atypical movies. They might be related to a country that we're not usually familiar with, or it's actually not a feature film but a short one, but it's going to be released in the theater. Or it could be a combination between two different cultures. Or maybe it's about an unknown background of one of our familiar IPs. All in all, without further ado, let's listen to the introduction of the first new movie we're going to talk about today. The Monk and the Gun. An American travels into Bhutan in search of a valuable antique rifle and crosses paths with a young monk who wanders through the serene mountains, instructed by his teacher to make things right again. The first new movie we're going to talk about today is a Bhutanese movie. I believe that most people haven't heard or watched any movies from Bhutan. Even the director himself said that there's no movie industry in Bhutan. But actually, his last film, which was his first feature film, was nominated as the Best International Feature Film at the Oscars Award. This one, The Monk and the Gun, even though it didn't make it to the last finalist, it was in the shortlist, 15 Best International Feature Film. So after these two films, director Pawal Turning Dorje is pretty famous, and people start to pay attention to Bhutan movies, or at least just movies from director Pawal Turning Dorje. I've seen The Monk and the Gun myself. The screening I went to was the very first public screening in Taiwan, and director was there. He said that he wants to remind his own fellow citizens in Bhutan through this story, and at the same time, he wants to share with the world about this special environment that makes Bhutan go forward to the openness and modernization. The director thinks that the existence of Bhutan is based on peace with other people. They fought against colonization and foreign forces, like their neighbor Tibet and other countries, lost independence. So while the world is embracing globalization, introducing worldwide TV channels, democratization, McDonald's and Coca-Cola, Bhutan chose to refuse cell phones, refuse cable TV, and refuse internet. But this movie, The Monk and the Gun, talks about how Bhutanese react to the fact that they're going to embrace modernization, they're going to embrace democracy. And that's something that we all should think about. Alright, let's move on to the second new movie we're going to talk about today. Voices of a Distant Star. It is a unique take on romantic relationship torn apart by duty and growing distance to each other. In this case, it is the distance of light years, which separates a mech pilot in outer space from her lover on Earth. Only through SMS can they keep contact with each other, and the further the girl travels into space with a fleet of spaceships looking for alien aggressors, the longer her messages take to reach him. Following Einstein's general theory of relativity, she also ages slower in relationship to him. But the true love they have for each other only grows through the hope of reuniting and sharing their emotion to the fullest. The second new movie we're going to talk about today is a Japanese short. Actually, when I saw that this classic is going to be re-released in the theater, but it's a short, I went to check whether the price is the same. I mean, I love animation shorts, but if you're asking me to pay the same amount of money to watch it at the theater, probably not many people would buy it. And don't worry, I checked it and it really is cheaper. Voices of a Distant Star was produced by director Makoto Shinkai, and it was an independent production. He was the director, the screenwriter, he performed, he drew the animation, he did the art, and he did the editing. But after it was launched, everyone was amazed, and that's how Makoto Shinkai got the attention in the animation industry in Japan. He did it all by himself and only used his home laptop to finish this romantic sci-fi animation short. It's pro level, and that's how he became a new legend in Japanese animation industry. As we heard in the introduction, one of the protagonists, the female one, left Earth, while the male one stayed on Earth and got into a regular high school. I don't know how a high school student can go to the universe, can go to outer space, but that's the background of the story. And so the tagline was that they're saying maybe they're one of the very first generations of lovers who get separated because of the universe and Earth. Actually, Voices of a Distant Star was released in 2002, so it has been 22 years. But recently, a publisher said that they're going to re-release the works of Makoto Shinkai, and this is just the beginning. They're going to start from where director started, but they're going to release a series of his animation. So if you really like Makoto Shinkai, I think this is a great chance to review all of the works he did before, especially Voices of a Distant Star. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it because it's his first work. And before we move on to Top 007 to talk more movies that are atypical, let's review what we had from last week. Top 3, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Top 2 was Imaginary Friends. And top 1, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We have some shuffling on the chart this week, so let's check out top 7 to top 4 first. Top 6, Pigsy.
如果我也可以带着暖男去新世界就好了。
待在这里也没什么不好。
Top 5, Haikyuu the movie. Decisive battle at the garbage dump.
じゃあさ、お前の学校強い？
最近は。
Top 4, Imaginary Friends.
I can help you.
How?
I'm a kid.
You are the chosen one.
No. Let's not give her a complex.
Good luck, short stack. It's all up to you.
Okay, so there are only 3 movies from top 7 to top 4 this week. We can see that top 3 to top 1 is a little bit crowded. But anyway, we have, wow, Haikyuu the movie Decisive Battle at the Garbage Dump has been on the chart for, I think, 8 weeks. That's really amazing. But today I'd like to talk about Pigsy. There really are a lot of animations in the theater recently. And Pigsy is an animation made in Taiwan by a Taiwanese production team. I know the name Pigsy is a little bit weird, and yes, it's related to the Chinese literature Journey to the West. But actually, this movie is a sci-fi one. So it's a combination between Journey to the West and a sci-fi background. It's a very interesting combination. The movie was released last week. I really wanted to watch it last week, but because I went back home and was just too busy to spare some time for it, I want to watch it because I happened to know the director when I served as a volunteer at the Taichung International Animation Film Festival. But I will try to find some time this weekend, this long weekend, to watch this movie because apparently it's pretty good. It's actually adapted from a TV series. And when I watched some clips from that TV series, I really think it's an interesting story. And I also had a chance to watch some clips from Pigsy before it was finished. And I think it's probably something to be pondered about. So if you like animation or you just want to support Taiwanese movies, I think Pigsy is a good choice for this long weekend. And now let's move on to top 3 to top 1. Top 3. The Garfield movie.
You hungry, little guy?
Twilight of the Wolverine.
入得嚟成就係你幫人，人幫你。
鬆聲下氣。
Top 2. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
There are dangers beyond our village.
Top 1. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your...
Yes, it's a little bit crowded and it's shuffled, but there's only one new face on this part of the chart this week. That is the Garfield movie. Garfield isn't a new IP. We've known it for a long time, but there hasn't been a movie version for a long time, if there's any. And from the trailer I saw, I think it's a very interesting one. It's not only about Garfield, but also about his background, how he got adopted by John. Well, according to Garfield, it is him who adopted John. And maybe he will touch upon how he bumped into his best friend, his dog friend, Odie. Oh, talking about that, recently I watched a short video. It's about how Charlie Brown and Snoopy got into each other. That was really touching. So I imagine how Garfield and Odie or John bumped into each other is probably similar. But it's Garfield. It's still comedy. So maybe there would be some funny things. And also, if you go watch the trailer, you will see Garfield's dad. I'm not sure if that's his biological dad, but at least he's a cat. Like we all know in Kung Fu Panda, Bo's father is a goose. So later we know Bo's actually adopted. But in Garfield, we don't know why his dad never showed up. But in the Garfield movie, he will tell us. And he and his dad will show up in the movie together. It's going to be fun. However, so far, the comments about the Garfield movie aren't pretty good. So I would recommend those who really love Garfield to watch this movie. Otherwise, you probably won't like it. But for people who like Garfield, I think it's still worth watching because I'm not a big fan of Garfield, but just from watching the trailer, I really want to know how Garfield got along with John, with Odie, and what happened between Garfield and his dad. I'm pretty sure it's all brought up in the movie. And there really are a lot of animations in the theater recently. Not if I wanted to talk about The Monk and the Gun. I could actually name this episode an animation episode. But anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Hope you enjoy these introductions of atypical movies. And if you actually go watch some of them, please share your thoughts with me. And remember to tune in same time next week here at Screen Scream. I'm Viola. See you next time.